When looking across the many genres of film out there, the less is more mantra is one that is particularly applicable to horror. By drip-feeding the audience small, timely nuggets of information in a nuanced manner, a filmmaker can carve up something brilliant within the confines of horror. But go the other way and give too much information to your audience or deliver that information too quickly, and you can easily sour what was once a promising picture. So with that in mind, I'm Ellie with What Culture, here with 8 horror movies that told the audience too much. Number 8, Switchblade Romance: The Twist Ending. By now, any horror hound worth their salt will be well aware of Switchblade Romance, aka Haute Tension, aka High Tension. A truly phenomenal pulse-racing horror movie for 80 minutes of its 95-minute runtime, the film is one of the most gripping of its generation. When it comes down to it though, Switchblade Romance didn't need to tell us that the real killer was Marie. In giving the audience this information, that rendered the rest of the movie completely and utterly irrelevant. For a film to spend so long being so great to then have that reveal, that was something that was better left unsaid, or maybe even simply insinuated. Switchblade Romance famously has one of the most disappointing twists in modern horror history, and if Alexandre Aja's picture had stayed away from telling us the real truth about one of its central protagonists being the villain of the piece, the film would have made so much more sense. Number 7, Jaws the Revenge: The Shark's True Motives. Why oh why couldn't Jaws the Revenge had just been a movie about a shark causing so much panic for Ellen Brody? That element of the narrative was included, of course, it's just all of the extra gunk on top of it that we really didn't need to be told about. And because we were told about it, that made Jaws the Revenge a head-scratcher of a movie on a multitude of different levels. For those who bailed out on the Jaws franchise before this 4th outing swam to the silver screen, Jaws the Revenge does indeed find Ellen Brody stalked by a great white shark and being haunted in her dreams in PTSD fashion at the horrors her family have already been through due to these apex predators. The thing is, the movie does this by moving the action from the fictional locale of Amity Island near Martha's Vineyard to the warm waters of the Bahamas. Those warm waters mean it's extremely rare for any shark activity in the Bahamas, which in turn is one strike against Jaws the Revenge. Where the film really tells us too much, however, is in how the shark stalking Ellen Brody in Jaws the Revenge is doing so due to a grudge against the Brody family. Yes, we're supposed to believe that Ellen's husband, Martin Brody, blowing up a shark at the end of Jaws and then electrocuting a shark at the end of Jaws 2, has led to a shark grudge against the Brody clan. Not just that, the same shark stalking Ellen in the Bahamas is the same one who killed her son Sean in Amity at the start of the movie. To think if they held back on informing the audience of the whole grudge stuff, there may have been a chance of a half-decent shark picture here. Number 6, It, the Finale. Having spent 3 hours terrifying audiences, 1990's It stumbled to a limp, wet finale. This made-for-TV movie adaptation, itself split into 2 parts of Stephen King's 1986 novel, was so good for so long, but the ending just took the wind completely out of its sails. After Tim Curry had wowed as Pennywise, the conclusion of this tale saw the maniacal, murderous clown revealed in its true form. And man, that true form was absolutely awful. To the credit of director Tommy Lee Wallace and his writing partner Lawrence D. Cohen, the ending they gave audiences is exactly the way things played out in King's novel. The only problem is the visuals that can be conjured up in a book are often vastly different to what can be conjured up on film, especially back in 1990. Should Wallace's It have veered off into a different path and not followed the ending of King's book? Well, usually one would say absolutely not. In reality, if this adaptation did change things up for its finale and not tell us about Pennywise's real form as much as it did, it couldn't possibly be worse than the clunky cartoonish spider creature that closed out It. Number 5, Jason Goes to Hell: The Final Friday, Jason's body-swapping origin. For so much of the Friday the 13th franchise, we have to take what we see with just a smidge of salt and show some goodwill. But Jason being a turd-looking spirit that can be orally passed from person to person? Nah, I'm good, thanks. That was essentially the crux of Jason Goes to Hell: The Final Friday. Here we see the hockey mask-adorned beast blown into a million different pieces during the movie's opening act. What this 9th Friday the 13th picture then does is it has a coroner eat Jason's heart. From there, the coroner is possessed by the spirit of Voorhees, with the aforementioned oral transferring of Jason's spirit from person to person as chaos and carnage ensues. Did audiences need to know that the evil that was Jason Voorhees is a transferable soul? Or the stupid plot point that only a member of his bloodline can truly kill Jason? Rubbish. Total rubbish. Number 4, Terminator Genisys, John Connor is a Terminator. The Terminator franchise has long been one to have its fingers in plentiful pies when it comes to spanning genres. In fact, so often part of the appeal of the series is in how it blends elements of science fiction, horror and action together to, at times at least, give audiences something worthwhile. To be fair, Terminator Genisys wasn't quite as bad as many people were fearing. As a loose reset for the franchise, the movie had some good, but it also had some bad. And when it comes to the bad, nothing was worse than how Genisys went and told the audience its biggest reveal before the movie had even been released. In the first trailers for Terminator Genisys, it was shockingly shown how Jason Clarke's John Connor was actually a Terminator. While that was a totally jarring reveal, it was absolutely nuts that the cat was let out of the bag so ludicrously early, as in months before the film hit cinemas. Still, many presumed that this was simply one of several twists that awaited them upon flocking to theatres to watch Genisys. But no, it turned out that the John Connor Terminator reveal was the big swerve of Terminator Genisys. Not only did this take a giant dump on so much of what we've been led to believe across the Terminator franchise, it also meant that audiences were left dumbfounded that such a pivotal plot point was put way out on Front Street during the marketing of the movie. Number 3, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Sinister Crimes. Not Wes Craven's iconic 1984 movie, but it's the 2010 A Nightmare on Elm Street remake that's being lambasted here. In Craven's original picture, there was very much a less is more approach from the legendary filmmaker. That is something that can be applied to the amount of time that Freddy Krueger spends on our screens, and it's also something that can be applied to Freddy's backstory. The 84 offering gave the horror genre a villain who was a child killer. Where the 2010 do-over told us too much, though, is in how it changed up this element and took it to a whole other level. Ahead of the 2010 film's release, many longtime Elm Street fans were already trepidatious about watching a needless remake of an all-time classic. And by then informing its audience that Krueger was a that was just another nail in the coffin for those who took the time to watch the A Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Number 2, a Serbian film, The Graphic Violence. Some films are included on this list for telling audiences plot twists too soon. Others are here because the information they serve up goes against established canon or just doesn't make sense. And then there's a Serbian film, which is included just because of how utterly messed up it is. It's no surprise that a Serbian film is frowned upon by so many, for it tells you things that you simply do not want to know. The extremely loose plot of a Serbian film centres on a struggling porn star who agrees to take part in an art movie. This is the sort of movie that the majority of people will absolutely hate, and the minute detail with which the acts on display are depicted and delivered are done in a way that serves up way too much information for your average moviegoer. Sure, there are those who champion a Serbian film as a piece of art that is misunderstood. But no, it's just really messed up. Number 1, Rob Zombie's Halloween, Michael's Childhood. Whatever you think of the final product, there's no question that Rob Zombie very much made Halloween every inch in his vision back in 2007. Famous for his dirty, visceral style of filmmaking, Zombie took Michael Myers and gave him a grubby lick of paint that made him very much different to the shape we'd seen in previous entries in the franchise. One thing that Zombie also did to Michael, of course, was to give him a proper backstory. And for many horror hounds, that was very much a case of showing the audience too much. Up until that point, all we knew about Myers was that he killed his sister when he was 6 years of age. From there, he'd spent 15 years locked up before escaping to cause carnage in his hometown of Haddonfield on Halloween night. That was the story established in John Carpenter's 1978 movie. What no film until Zombies had done, though, is break down Michael's story in such a way that explained why he does what he does. That he was bullied and abused in school and at home until one day he snapped and embarked on his murderous mute path. And that concludes our list. If you think we missed any, then do let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap that notification bell. Also, head over to Twitter and follow us there, and I can be found across various social medias just by searching Ellie Littlechild. I've been Ellie with What Culture. I hope you have a magical day, and I'll see you real soon.